Welcome to another one of our interviews with the dead. Today we interview a man who died not long ago, in 2019 in fact, a convicted pedophile and human trafficker who was found guilty of raping underage girls and offering them to his celebrity acquaintances. Jeffrey Epstein died in prison, allegedly by hanging himself in his own cell, but new evidence may point to his murder, as many people, including his own brother, believe. We will ask him today to clarify whether it was murder or suicide. Jeffrey Epstein. Thank you for joining us. The handlers told us this has to be brief. Very brief, they said. So, let me start by asking you, if there is a hell, I would assume you would be there. Are you in hell?
No, it's not hell. At least not what they tell you hell is supposed to be. At least not Dante's ninth circle of hell. I guess it could be the first or second circle. Things are not very comfortable, and the people are not friendly at all, and all the women are over 20. I don't know. Could be.
I am sorry. Were you trying to be funny?
No, I didn't mean it that way. This is just the way I think. Look, you might not like how I think, but I meant it seriously. When you die, you don't change. My comment on the women just came out. That's how I see things. I wasn't trying to be a smartass.
Are you at all remorseful? Remorseful about the pedophilia, the trafficking, the entitlement, the sickening immorality and illegality of your actions?
I became remorseful the moment I got caught and exposed. Powerful people who had begged for my attention, my company, were now avoiding me, even denying they knew me, some hypocritically attacking me. I became a pariah. Until then, I was okay with it. I enjoyed it. I guess I fit the description of what you would call a pervert, but I had a lot of company.
A lot of people suffered because of your actions. Doesn't that give you pause?
A lot of people? Not really. Of course, there is Ghislaine, Larry Summers, and Mendelsohn, maybe, and Andrew. I understand he is no longer a prince. Look, Andrew is not the brightest person. He could have been more discreet, but it's like he never grew up. He thought that being a prince meant he could get away with anything.
I meant the suffering of the numerous women, the young girls, whose lives you destroyed. The rapes, the forced prostitution, the trafficking. Do you think about that?
I know there is nothing I can say to convince you that this wasn't wrong. But in the Middle Ages, couples would marry when they were in their early teens. Age differences between men and women were very significant. I had a historian who visited the island once argue that God, the Creator, decided that women would reach their puberty at about 10 years of age. This was decided by God, the Creator. So if God thinks it's okay for them to procreate then, that should be fine with me and any believer to have sex with them. I am not saying that I necessarily agree with that argument, but a lot of people believe that.
I am surprised you don't realize how evil that sounds. We don't have much time left, so let me ask you, were you killed or did you commit suicide as the government claims?
It happened very quickly. What I recall, but I might be imagining this, I was asleep when two men came into my cell. One of them grabbed my legs and the other strangled me. It was seconds. I don't remember much else. I think that is what happened. The next thing, I was here. Maybe my brain is playing with my mind, because I hear that the state says I committed suicide. My lawyers said that if I turned state witness, I could have my sentence reduced or at least be moved elsewhere. Murder or suicide? Dead men don't talk, and maybe that's the way they wanted it.
Of the men who participated in your activities, who were the most depraved? And did you work for the Mossad and the Russians as is being reported? You seem to be pretty close to Israeli leaders, or at least to Ehud Barak.
Look, rule of thumb, on the average, the more powerful, the more depraved. Of course, with the Mossad and the Israelis in general, they were very interested in what I was doing. But I worked for whoever had money to pay me. The Mossad would fund a whole campaign of depravity for a political purpose, mostly blackmail, but not necessarily. Others would ask me to do specific things, political blackmail, of course, but sometimes financial blackmail. Others just wanted drugs, sex, and rock and roll. They all had to pay for it. It was a business.
The British are investigating Andrew, and he may end up in prison. He already lost his title and much that goes with it. Do you believe the United States will investigate and imprison any one of those you say are the most depraved?
No, I doubt it. The way the British government is set up, it allows for much less corruption. In the United States, the number of agencies and free agents makes it so corruption is much more rampant, and it is widely tolerated. Congressmen and senators will condemn, and late-night talk show hosts will make jokes, but nothing will happen. A distraction will come along. If not, the government will create one. A war, an assassination, something. A few people lost their jobs, but no one is going to prison.
The handlers are telling me, insisting, that our time is up. Unfortunately, I wanted to ask you about your relationship with President Trump. I hope we have another opportunity. Thank you, Jeffrey Epstein. I want to thank our viewers and remind them of our other interviews with dead celebrities, including Sir Winston Churchill and President Abraham Lincoln. Bye-bye for now, and we will be back soon with another interview with the dead.